Oh, what a beautiful day, and fitting, I suppose, considering that we are celebrating the 52nd annual edition of Earth Day, World Earth Day. We are streaming live here at Downsview Park. Great to have you along as we start up a Friday together. This is a massive urban playground in the middle of the city that offers so many great opportunities to connect with nature. There's the lake, there's meadows, urban forest, there's also farmland here. In fact, one of the largest urban farms in the entire country is on this property. So we're excited to take you along as we explore here and start up a Friday together. By the way, Ron Carter was first on the board to say hello to everybody, so it's good to have you along. We have many people joining us. Susan is with us, Barb Morris, Lori Deisman, also Christopher is watching, Connie saying good afternoon, a beautiful day, it really is. So have Joyce joining us, Cindy, Alan saying good Earth Day, Anwar, Irene is saying hello, also Betty, Joan, and Lonnie, and Jack, Terry saying happy Friday. Yeah, now I don't know about you, my kids had Monday off for Easter, and I just still think it was a long week. I don't know, is it just me? Is it just me? I don't know. Anyway, this is a great spot to explore as we start up officially episode 53 of Here and There. If you're new to the program, let us know. Put a little asterisk saying new if you want to comment and join in on the fun here. We do this every Friday at 1 o'clock, and the goal is to explore the many gems across the GTA, connect with you in real time. Sometimes we do it indoors as well, and we get to play some games, but this is all just about a magic moment, a digital magic moment, and today's a special day, of course, as I mentioned, because we're celebrating Earth Day. And before we start exploring this huge park, I wanted to start off by giving you a little explainer on how Earth Day evolved. It's a fascinating, very cool story, so please take a look. Now, of course, for me, and I'm sure I'm not alone, I mean, Earth Day really should be every day, and I think we could do that every day, and that'll set me up into the AKQ in just a moment, but I just wanted to mention, you know, Giselle also said how wonderful that this episode falls on Earth Day. Yeah, it is kind of neat, because, you know, if you've been following us along for over a year now, you know, part of the staple of this initiative is really to connect with nature. There's so many wonderful benefits with it, so we do appreciate you noting that, Giselle. Alan says, yay for all 52 episodes, and Joanne says, happy Earth Day. Sarah J is joining us again. Says she's been absent for the past 2 weeks, but she's back. Well, it's good to have your company. And Narita says, glad to see you with this beautiful sunny day. And Barbara mentions, nice to have you on location. Well, we appreciate that. You know, this year's theme of Earth Day is invest in our planet. And, you know, I think if we work together, as I mentioned that I think it should be every day, there is time to solve the climate crisis. I really feel confident with that. But more than that, this is a time to choose both not only a prosperous but a sustainable eco-future. And that's what this is about, to restore nature and then really build a healthy planet for generations to come, whether it's grandkids or your own kids. We owe it to them, and that sort of propelled me why I did the podcast, the Big Blue Marble podcast that we continue. It was for my kids. I wanted to tell the stories, and I wanted people to understand that, you know, we're being impacted right now. We may not get a hurricane down south, we may not have a drought per se, but it's impacting our daily lives. So it's about embracing a green future, eco-future. So the AKQ for today that I'm asking you is, what eco-actions have you committed to? That's the question. What eco-actions have you committed to? And I don't want you to think that, you know, if you say you're no longer using plastic bags, think, well, it's nothing significant. Every little act has a big impact because it's collective. So I'm asking you that today. For me, we try to do quite a bit at our home, but one of the most recent things was battery recycling. You know, less than 10% of the batteries from the toys and the gadgets ends up in properly recycled areas, you know, for processing. It's tossed in the garbage, and those have toxins. So twice a year, we have a little pail in the garage. When the kids' toys, the battery dies, we just put it in there. And just a couple of weeks ago, we brought it over to the recycling center, and they process it because there's a lot of toxins in those. So that's one. I mean, of course, we do the reusable bags, we do composting, as the list goes on and on. I want to ask the guys, we got Vern here, eco commitment in your home?
I'm looking at a hybrid transition vehicle right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, until I could get an electric.
Right.
So yeah, that's what.
Well, I think that's, you know, that is the wave. Unfortunately, right now, trying to get a car physically is a problem, right? You can place your order. All of the manufacturers have committed numerous models that are hybrid or EV, but to physically be able to get in one and drive off, you're going to be waiting many months. But good for you. Ricardo, can I ask you?
I'm a recycling nut.
You're,
I do recycle as much as I can.
He's a recycling nut. Well, that's good.
And I like to fix things.
And he's a nut.
You know?
And he's a nut to boot, right?
Yeah.
And you like to fix things. And that's also part of that circular economy. You know, we live in such a disposable society. It's about repurposing now. In fact, there are new laws, you know, happening in Europe in particular, where they're now saying, like, even iPhones, gadgets, it can no longer be proprietary where you can only go to Apple to get it fixed. It has to be wide open. It has to be accessible because, you know, many times you're like, well, it's not worth it paying them to open it up. You know, I might as well get a new one. They're trying to change that. So good for you, Ricardo. That's good news to hear. That's what I'm asking you. So we'll connect with you throughout the program. I'm going to scale down. And Kathy says, what an awesome day to be outside. Great to see you out in that fresh air. Ah, yes, absolutely. Now, I have to tell you, I have to be careful how deep I breathe. I was telling my guys, you know, over the Easter weekend, I hope you had a great Easter, by the way, I had a little injury. I toppled, and I swear you could try to replicate what I did 1,000 times, and it would never happen again. I wasn't on a ladder. I wasn't doing something noble for my mother-in-law, trimming trees. I was simply in rubber boots because the grass was wet. I was hanging out with my kids out, you know, on the farm, and I was running to them, and I lost my place, and I went down. And I'm telling you, I went down so hard, it knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't breathe. So I'm yelling to my 7-year-old, call mommy, daddy can't breathe. And he wasn't sure if I was joking, like, I can't breathe. And he got mommy, and eventually I got my breath, but I believe I cracked a rib or two. I still have pain on the right side. It's better today, but boy, it has been quite a journey. And the impact, how I went down was so intense that the imprint, thankfully it was soft ground, was like 3.5 inches. My shoulder dug in, and then I rolled. And I looked at that after, and I could put my heel in it. And had that been concrete, I'm laughing about it now, I think I would end up in the hospital. So I'm a little cautious on my deep breaths right now, but I'm feeling better than I was. But what a story, man, oh man. Anyway, let's continue our journey here. You know, we talk about Earth Day. There are many events going on. In fact, there's some events happening here tomorrow at Downsview Park. And I want to bring up a map to show you, you know, we talk about, you know, little changes have a big impact. Let me show you across the globe how many events are officially registered here. And this is with earthday.org. So I'll pull this up, and you can see every one of those dots. So this is really empowering. Everything from an olive tree planting group session in Iraq to an eco-information assembly and garden building in Ethiopia to a virtual grasslands exhibit in Saskatchewan. It's about awareness, it's about action, and it's about working together to support a green future. And I think it's really, really cool. And I'm going to post, by the way, online today some of the events that are happening in the GTA if you want to partake in a tree planting and some other things that are going on. But we are lakeside. And you know, there's a reason why I chose Downsview Park. First of all, look how beautiful this is. And it's not just a body of water. I'll step out of the shot here, because this is so much more than a catch basin of rainwater. I mean, it's 9 acres, and it consists of bioswales. Now, bioswales is basically implementing natural filtration. So there is vegetation and select soils that have been incorporated into this design, if you will, and it will naturally filter the water. So the stormwater runoff that goes in here, first of all, it's allowed to sit, so it also minimizes flooding, but it will filter out, you know, all the suspended solids. So it filters out the sediment before it goes into, you know, back into the Black Creek water system, which is a tributary of the Humber River. And this is so successful, it will remove upwards of 80% of the sediment. And it's all done naturally. And of course, you know, at the end of it, it's also a catch basin, certainly minimizing flooding, but it's also a place for wildlife to call home. You know, there's many, many different species of animals that will come here. In fact, we have lots of ducks, some geese over there, and they're enjoying it. So this is all about that balancing act, right? You know, putting things together in terms of an urban environment, but also nurturing nature. We can coexist, and I'll tell you, even Ricardo was saying how beautiful this spot is. You have lots of room, and it is multi-purpose. Now, I want to show you, by the way, where we are, just to give you a little bit of an idea in terms of proximity. Ricardo shot some drone footage, so let's roll that, Jason, please. So we're by the lake, and we'll call this up, and you'll see how expansive this is, because, you know, Downsview Park is 290 acres, and it sits smack dab in the city's Downsview neighborhood. And the lake, by the way, is 3 to 4 meters deep. So that is a significant body of water, I say in quotes. You know, you're looking 12, maybe 15 feet. And it is all engineered, again, for sustainability. And I thought it was just amazing. Of course, this used to be a Canadian Forces base before it was declared Canada's first urban national park back in 1999. But you can see with this drone footage that Ricardo shot about 90 minutes ago, all the pathways. And that's the beauty of this. You know, there are a number of circuits around here, circuit paths. The main one is just shy of 3 kilometers, about 2.7 kilometers. And the beauty of it is that for the most part, all of it is paved. So accessibility is very easy, right? If you wanted to bring somebody in a walker or wheelchair, maybe you're not very stable in your feet and you have a cane, most of the paths, in fact, what we'll do, I'll show you one of the paths, because there's many different paths that connect, but you can see here, it's all paved. You know, it's concrete. So it's just beautiful in terms of getting outdoors. So that's something that you may want to consider if you want to come down here to Downsview Park. Now, we're going to get off the beaten path and sort of carve our own path, because I want to take you over to the lookout area, and it's a beautiful spot there. So, Ricardo, you at your leisure, because you're carrying all the gear the best you can, I'll come behind, and we're going to go towards the lookout area, because I wanted to share with you, you know, the salute to the history here. And Laura says, I haven't been to Downsview for years. So great to see how beautifully it is being developed. Very, very true. Shara says, I live right close by, Shepherd Avenue West. Well, you should come and say hi. And Lois says, hope you are on the mend. I use reusable bags, tins, and plastic recycle, as well as paper. Well, that's good. Judy says, happy Earth Day to all. And Andrew says, I plan all my errands and appointments, the route to conserve gas, and also bought a manual car. The last one fell apart. Well, you know, not only is that good, you know, in terms of cutting down on your carbon footprint, but also at $1.80 a liter, I mean, that's got to help too, right? I think that the cheapest I saw coming was $1.76 right now. And they're saying, oh, it's going down to $1.70, you know? But good for you, I'm glad. So that's the AKQ again, Eco Commitments. And by the way, Kathy says, great aerial shots, Ricardo. So you have some fans. And Laura adds, looks even better from the sky. Looks like a great bike path. And Giselle says, great aerial view of the park. Jack is joining us. Hazel also joining us. And Kathy says, I love seeing things like this for people to explore and enjoy. And that's the thing. You know, I hate to say it. Yeah, they're removing the mask mandate. It is what it is. But the COVID's not over yet. So you want to get outdoors, the fresh air, it's safer, and connect with nature. But look at this here. So this is called the Lookout. And you'll see there's a number of aircrafts that are put on these posts. So this is a great spot that you can come to, and you got the view of the lake, but you're also saluting the aviation history. So Ricardo will show you some of these planes here. And this was a military base at one point. Before that, it was an aviation manufacturing center. So the sounds of aircraft taking off and landing, I mean, it was an everyday thing here almost a century ago. And here you're seeing a few replicas sort of saluting that past. And Ricardo, I'm just going to look up, I think it's the Mosquito here. Yeah, so if you could show that one, Ricardo. This is called the Mosquito. And that, was from de Havilland. It was one of the greatest contribution to World War II. It was a light bomber. It was constructed almost completely from wood. And the speed emphasized over defensive armament, resulting in one of the fastest aircraft in the war. So there were like 7,000 of those aircrafts made. So it's just kind of neat. Again, if you've got kids, so the Mosquito is this one here. Yeah, that's okay. This is the Mosquito here, and then you have another one there. But if you've got kids, grandkids, this is just another spot, right, to sort of engage them. And of course you have all the sunshine, just beautiful, and you have a really nice layout here where you can get a little better perspective of where we are, and you can see there's many different levels of terrain here. We're going to head into the forest and into Boakes Grove in a moment, but I wanted to certainly get into the forecast. Before I do that, I want to say hi to Marilyn, who says hello from Owen Sound. I'm heading out on a road trip this afternoon to photograph nature around Red Bay. Well, that's interesting. Andrea says, this is so great to see, as I lived at Kiel and Finch in the mid-70s and worked at York Finch General Hospital, so I was always afraid this property would turn into a sea of houses one day. Well, there is a partial development, but for the most part, yeah, this is all about a natural green space, and I think they've done some really good work here. It's really fantastic. And Wendy says, when I used to drive from the west end of Mississauga to the far east of Scarborough daily, I used to drive too fast and filled up twice a week. One day I decided to see how much gas I could save by driving the speed limit, and I discovered only use one tank per week, so it's worth to slow down, everyone. You see that? We'll have to actually replay that 1,000 times for Vern. He's a leadfoot. I mean, now he drives a golf cart, so it's not that bad. It's like on the set of Cocoon or something. Meep, meep, get out of the way. But that's always cool. Lois is also joining us. Let's get to your forecast, guys. The weather is brought to you by the Big Blue Marble podcast. Listen in, my friends, to the undeniable stories of our changing planet and the amazing people trying to save it. It is available now in your favorite podcast player. And, I just sent out, by the way, my special edition Earth Day edition of the newsletter this morning. I do it once a month. You can subscribe to that newsletter on the website at www.bigbluemarble.earth, and also you can access the links at anwarnight.com. But the podcast episodes are available on your favorite podcast players. So I wanted to get into the actual system map. We'll start off with that, and I have to admit, it's pretty busy. Here's the takeaways. Let's break it down for you. So ideally what we're dealing with is this very large storm system in the central U.S., and that's going to be problematic in terms of severe weather for parts of the Dakotas in the U.S., some wind and some hail, and a lot of rain. It's tapping into Gulf moisture, so it's going to bring a lot of rain. Watch out, Ricardo, somebody on a rollerblade here. It's going to bring maybe over 2 inches of rain for parts of the eastern prairies. We'll get a little bit of rain from it, but overall, we're going to be dealing more with actually a lot of warm air that's coming in. Just some showers for tomorrow, and then we get really a beautiful Sunday. So, it looks more ominous than it is. It's not really for us. You can see the warm fronts. That generates a nice southerly flow, so we're going to see some very warm values. Let's take a look at your forecast in around the GTA. So overall for today, mainly sunny skies. The UV will be 8 or very high. It's that time now. We have to start practicing safe sun again, and we'll get up to 14 degrees. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 5. Your sunset time is 8:08. And then as we look at the rest of southern Ontario, overall mainly sunny. There'll be some increasing clouds in southwestern Ontario with that warm front, and that's where we'll see certainly some showers developing. I think for the Windsor-Sarnia area, it'll be late afternoon, but London, it won't be till late evening when that starts to move in. So for the GTA, I mean, it's going to be tomorrow. I'll give you more details on that in a moment. But 12 to 14 degrees, partly cloudy with showers in the southwest for the overnight, -2 to 7, so -2 in Haliburton. It'll feel colder. You'll have a wind chill of -5 in Haliburton, 1 in Kingston, and 7 degrees in Windsor. Now, as we get to the 5-day trend, what you can expect. So tomorrow, there will be some rain showers. I think the window for the most part is 10 to 2-ish. So sort of in there, we'll get some rain showers, and then it'll start to clear out after that. The high of 10 degrees Sunday. Wow, look at this. Mix of sun and cloud, 18 degrees. I think parts of southwestern Ontario will be into the mid-20s. You know, maybe some record breaking. So that is fantastic. Monday we see some rain showers, 16 degrees, but it starts to turn colder again. Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud, and 10 degrees. And again, I hate to say it, but we're going to be struggling a little bit in terms of, you know, the temperatures. We get a couple of nice days, then it starts to break down, but we'll deal with it. Anyway, so we are streaming live here at Downsview Park. It's great to have you with us here on Here and There. So now we're heading into the Boaks Grove and the urban forest. And you know, we mentioned that there are so many different types of wildlife that live here. You know, you'll quite often see coyote, deer, tons of birds, or, you know, a signature of some of the birds. Take a look at this here. Look at this right here. Now, I'm going to step out of the way so there's no shadow, and I don't know if, Ricardo, you can push it. You can see, you know, little claws, you know, little talons, if you will. This is very likely an owl pellet, regurgitation, right? So there is the remnants of a couple of meals in that. To some, it's really gross. To my kids, they'd be like, wow, this is amazing. In fact, I'll have to take some pictures. They're probably watching right now, by the way. And I mean, that's just kind of cool. So there is quite often some owls that are spotted here. And I've seen on occasion, you know, the photographers with the big lenses that they come in and they sit and watch. So just these are little things, little gems, you know, you can explore with your kids or your grandkids and get some fresh air. So I want to take you through to Boaks Grove here. So I think we're both going to go through here because it's a little muddy. Do you want me to lead or do you want to go? Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. How about if we hop over here and you over there? So, I mean, there is an actual pathway with some mulch, but there's still some muck. So we're going to sort of go in between. But you'll see, I mean, it still looks like early March, agreed. But once these trees, the leaves start popping out, I mean, this is just beautiful. You know, there's silver maples here, there's walnut trees. There's such a variety, and it really looks completely different when all the leaves are out. But, you know, even when you're looking up, but you should also look down. And, I mean, you can see here, look at this. Now, there's quite a bit here, and I have to say, they're quite pretty. And if I'm not mistaken, I think these are Siberian squill. They're actually invasive to Ontario. They're very pretty, they love wooded areas, and they tend to come up early spring. They're very resilient and they're cold hardy, but they're invasive. And you know, as we continue our walk, in fact, let's go down this way, Ricardo. You'll see probably a few more patches, but you can see here, they've set up some logs because they do school groups, they do camps that come down here. And to me, there's no better classroom than an outdoor classroom. So we're going to walk down and I want to explain a few things, but I wanted to connect with you here. Let me just get back into my phone. Oh, Wendy says her dad worked at de Havilland for a little while in the 70s. Oh, wasn't that something? And Kathy says, wouldn't that be great to see the birds of prey? Yes, I agree. And Giselle adds, an owl pellet on Earth Day. That's what we're doing, right? We are celebrating nature at its finest. So here again, you can see some of these. I mean, it's pretty, but you can see how they just sort of take over and then it sort of knocks out of balance the other stuff that should be going on here. So as we continue to stream live, this is known as Boaks Grove, and what's cool about this is that this is the remaining woodlot from one of the homesteads of the Boak family. They settled in here, you know, back in the 1830s. So yeah, I think about stuff like that this is where a family, you know, in fact, if I have it correct, there were 4 successive generations that actually lived here. It's kind of cool, right? I mean, you think how far it's come. Now, what happened is that their land was expropriated by the Department of National Defense, and that's how come they did military aircraft. But we're going to continue through here, And this path is, not paved, so, you might want to bring boots if you're coming over the next few weeks. But there's a lot of beautiful trees here, and we're going to walk through. I want to show you one other really neat area here. And then we're going to get into some of the success stories when we talk about climate change, the impacts that we can have. And those are everyday things, but as we work together, the impact is really significant. So let's walk through here. I'm just going to see, yes, Laura says, imagine what it looked like 150 years ago. That's so true. And Faye says, beautiful nature walk. Thank you very much. Well, you're very welcome. I appreciate you joining me. And I think it's really cool, that we're streaming live. You guys are very likely at home, and we're still connecting. We're doing this all together. If you think that we started this over a year ago, and we're still working out on the odd kink here or there, but isn't this amazing? So we're using technology, for the greater good, if you will. Well, we're going to come through here, and then we're going to walk across here. Now, this is part of development that is going to happen here at Downsview, and it's about the tall grass prairies. And this is something that is pretty unique because it's a very rare ecosystem. It's an endangered ecosystem. Less than 3% of the tall grass prairies are still intact in the province. So they're going to redevelop this with that purpose, to talk about biodiversity. Which way should we cut across, Ricardo? What do you think? Want to go a little bit further? Okay. Because I want to take you to another spot, another very cool spot where we're going to end the show. But, this is part of, again, as we circle back, about the pond, the tall grass prairies. It's about educating, it's about awareness, it's also about contributing to nature, because the tall grass prairies, they are an ecosystem in itself, and they benefit a lot of wildlife. Let's highlight, as we get to our other spot here, I want to highlight some of the success stories when it comes to climate change. So I'll bring up the first one, and I bet you didn't know this, I know my guys didn't know this, that the Empire State Building and 13 other properties which are owned by the same company are now exclusively powered by wind. Did you know that? Wow. I thought that was really cool. So it's a huge step forward in sustainability, and it will avoid the production of some 450 million pounds of carbon dioxide. That's equivalent to removing all the cabs in New York City for an entire year. I think that's really cool. Our second one is that Greenland has officially stopped all new oil and gas exploration to fight climate change. And you have to think about that. This is despite that the geological surveys estimate there could be 18 billion untapped barrels of oil on Greenland's west coast alone, but government officials says, you know what? The price of extraction and effects on the environment is simply too costly. It's not worth it. So that's a huge turning point for a nation. Hopefully it'll encourage others. The third one is the resurgence of the humpback whale. They are one of the largest animals to ever exist on our planet. And for decades, they were harvested for their oil and meat by the whaling industry. There was only like 5,000 left on the planet. But after landmark laws banned commercial whaling, the global population is now estimated at 80,000 and increasing. And that didn't happen overnight. It was certainly, over decades, but it's a true success story. And then our last one, this one's really astounding. So over 1,400 institutions from 71 countries have divested from fossil fuels, adding up to a $39 trillion in value. And that's all because of increasing pressure from citizens, consumers that made it clear we don't want to support corporations that aren't working towards sustainability. So, this proves that change can happen, and that's why I remain optimistic. We have the power as consumers to say, hey, not on our watch. We need things to change, and we need to do it now. So I wanted to give you some of those examples. And as we continue here, we're going to a different part. So this is where part of the tall grass prairies are going to be revitalized, if you will. And now we get a different perspective. So the lake is down there, past the trees. And here we have a couple of chairs, which I guess we're not going to sit in now that there's somebody there. And we're not going all the way up to that one. Look at Ricardo's like, no, can you show them though? Show our viewers. There's another set over there. So I think we'll end off here. I was hoping to get pretty comfy in that chair, but so be it. So as we get set to wrap up, Cheryl says tech has really been incredible. And, Joan is joining us. Good to have you. And also, Christopher says, wow, it has been a year already. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. It has been a year, 53 episodes. Isn't that something? So listen, as we get set to wrap up, if you enjoy what we're doing, please send me the parade of hearts. Like, share, and follow my page. And if you're watching us on YouTube Live, we appreciate that. Like and subscribe as we continue to grow. I just wanted to say, at the end of this, it is our Earth, it is our future, and it is our duty to take care of it. And together, I think we can do this. Again, I'll post some of the events that are happening this weekend across the GTA on my Facebook page. Maybe you'd like to partake in that. And let's make a difference. Let's make a difference for the next generation. Let's celebrate nature, and that's what we hope to do here. On that note, my friends, I want to thank you for joining us. This is episode 53 of Here and There. I'm Anwar Knight. Have a safe and very happy weekend, and we look forward to seeing you again next Friday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Yay!